to the Board Game Network. This is James. I'm going to be explaining how to play this game called Orléans. They just had a new expansion come out, and I had not yet been able to make a rules video. So I wanted to make sure you had a rules video, so if you want to jump into that expansion that just is brand new, you could know how to play this game. This game is a worker placement, but it's super simple. Worker placements like Agricola or Stone Age or something like that, but I would say this game is simpler, much simpler than Agricola. Rules are much simpler. Maybe in the complexity of Stone Age, except for most worker placement games, when you put your worker on someplace, nobody else gets to do that. Well, this one removes that from the game, mostly. There's a little bit of it there, but mostly it's been removed. So it's not as competitive where you feel bad that you put a worker on something that, and then your 5-year-old kid wants to, or your 10-year-old is all mad because they wanted to do that. You don't have that problem in this game. I've got the game set up. You take all these, there's 18 of these tiles here that have the hourglass here. You put the light colored one on top. You always start with the pilgrimage on top. You set out your tiles that match. Your monks go here. The farmers go here, but they match, the color matches this row here. The color matches. Everybody has a color of pieces with a matching bag color. And so they put their cubes on the first space there, plus the first space down here. There are 13 of these citizen tokens that you're just going to look around and see places that have these little meeple looking spot and spread those around this board and this board. You're going to take all these goods, flip them upside down, mix them all up, and put one on each space on this side of the board. So this is randomized. You're going to put one of your meeple guy here in Orléans. You're going to start with 5 coins, and you have a set of 4 different workers here, 4 different colors, and they look just like these workers, except for they have your color at the bottom of the circle. So I've got yellow down here because I'm playing yellow. I've got a first player marker here. And you have these tiles. These got a Roman numeral 1 and a Roman numeral 2. You just got 2 different stacks. And you are ready to go. And so all you do is here's a little reference thing that shows you the order of play. Reveal the next hourglass tile. So you flip the next hourglass up and you know what it's going to be because it's always pilgrimage for the first one. And on phase 1, when that flips over, you get to know what happens even though it's phase 6 when the event happens. So you get to know ahead of time when this is going to go into effect, what you might want to work towards for that turn. And pilgrimage says that you cannot recruit any monks for this round. When you don't have a gray one anyway, so even if you put a black one there, you could not put a gray one there, so you can't do it anyway. Okay, so you 1 coin for having the most farmers. You get 1 coin if you're in the lead on farmers, and it's even got a note here. This game does a great job with the icons, putting icons on the board to remind you of things. So over here it's +1 if you're in the lead, -1 coin if you're in the back, and if there's a tie for front or back, then you don't get the coin or you don't lose the coin if you're tied. Then phase 3 is draw followers and place them on the market. So the first two, when you just start the game, don't even happen. Nothing really happens. And then phase 3, nothing really happens. You don't have any followers in your bag, any workers, because you've already got all 4 of them placed out. You assign followers to action spaces. These are your action spaces here. So everybody just does this simultaneously. You look around and you have to put things on the same colored space as what the piece is. So I could put those 3 there, and I could put the blue one there. You don't have to completely fill up one space, but you can. If you don't fill it up, it just stays there until the next round. So you can set them there ahead of time, or you can leave them down here if you don't want to use them all. And the spaces that you completely fill all the circles of, that's what your worker does. That's what you do for that turn. So you assign your followers and then you carry out actions. So whoever the first player is, he's going to start and he's going to do an action. So even if there are multiple things that he can do on his board, he does one of them. And then once he does it, he removes those markers and throws them into his bag. And then he can draw from them next round. And whatever he does here, once he takes off, like the farmhouse, the castle, the village, the university, he moves his marker up on that track, 1 on the track, and then whatever icon is above that space that he just moved onto, he gets to do. So this one is take a wheat token, so he would take a wheat. And that's good for victory points at the end of the game, wheat is. And you'll notice the farmer goes 2 wheat, and then 2 cheese, and then 2 wine, and then a cloth, and then a brocade. So it just depends on which space you're moving on to each round. And you also take one of these tokens and put it in your bag also. So that works for all of these spaces down here. You move up, move your cube to the right, you take one of these, and you take whatever is above the space. If you ever move on to one of these citizen tokens, you take the citizen token, and that's good for victory points at the end of the game also. So farmer lets you have goods, which are good for victory points. It shows you right here your victory points at the end of the game. This one lets you take the technology tile, and you just set it off to the side of your board. And the very first one has to be used on the farmhouse. It's got a little icon up there. But then after that, you can use it on when you pick these up, you can use them on any of these. And these are actually permanent. They stay out on a space permanently for the rest of the game once you place them. This one lets you pull one of these tiles for the 1. And once you get to here where it says 1, 2, you can pull a 1 from here or 1 from here. And it suggests that once you get experience with this game, everybody who's in the game gets to pull a tile out of one of these stacks and remove it from the game, because maybe one of them you don't like, or one of them's broken or something. But essentially what it does is these give you another action possibility besides what's on your board. So you get to look through the stack, you take one you want and put it face up, and then you can start putting workers on that tile. This one gives you 2 coins, 3 coins, 4 coins, 5 coins, or the citizen. Okay, the knight that's in the castle, he affects how many tiles you get to draw out of your bag each round. So you're starting with 4, which is why you had 4 tiles out here to start with, right here. But if you move it up, then you can start drawing 5 or 6 or 7 or 8. And you'll notice you're putting more of these. Every time you move this up, you're taking one of those and sticking it in your bag. So your bag has more and more of these workers in it. And they match what you're trying to do out here. And this one lets you move forward this many spaces on this track here. So if you move up one here, that lets you move 2 spaces. The next one lets you move 3 more, 4 more. And at the end of the game, this is good for victory points at the end of the game. So the castle here is this one. The farmhouse is up here. The village, and the village is this one, or this one. So you can do, when you fill up those 3 spaces, you can do any one of those 3, whichever you choose. The monastery gives you a monk. A monk is a wild, actually. It's one of these tokens. You put it in your bag, and when you pull it out and place it, you can place it on any space on your board over here. So it becomes a wild. And the university is this one down here. So that's those spaces. These spaces up here are, we've got the ship, and when you fill that up, it lets you move down the waterway over here. So you take your meeple and you move it from one city to another city. And when you move over a goods tile, you can take a goods tile. So you have to go all the way to the next city. And in this case, it went over 2 different goods, so you take one of the 2. So you're going to leave one there, you're going to take one. If there's no goods there, that's just perfectly fine. Here's the wagon. It moves over the brown rows for a trail or a road. The guild hall lets you put one of your guild halls down. And everybody can put a guild hall in Orléans, but only one person can put a guild hall in each city other than Orléans. And that's good for victory points at the end of the game. Now the scriptorum, if you fill that one, that lets you move 1 space forward on this track. If you put the town hall, you can put 1 or 2 tokens there. And when you take them off, you put them up here on this board here. And you take them off one at a time. Each one you take off is an action. And you get whatever above that space has. So any of them on this row gives you 1 coin. This one gives you 3 coins, 2 coins, 1 coin. I missed one of my citizens here. 2 coins. But, and this is a coin or forward on this track. And if you ever put down the last one on the row or on that section, you get the citizen token. When you take your markers from the town hall and put them out there, you can put both of them out there. If you've got 2 there, you can put them both on the same action. And once these get put up here, they stay there for the rest of the game, so you do not get them back to put back in your bag. So that's a good way of getting rid of some of these workers that you don't want anymore, if you got too many of a certain kind. And then once one person has done an action, the next person does an action, and you go around until everybody has passed. Now if you have all 3 markers on filling up a space, filling up a section here, you don't even have to do it if you don't want to. You can say I pass and not take that action if you don't want to, or you can. But once you pass, you're out of the round, so you can't come back in later. And once everybody has passed consecutively, then it goes to the next phase here, and that's resolve the event. So let me show you some of the events. This one gives you 1 coin for every guild hall you have over here on the board. So you just get coins. Oh, you just get coins equal to the star that you've passed. So in this case, I would get 2 coins, or if I was up here, I'd get 3 coins for this one. Go to the next one. Pilgrimage. Everybody has to randomly draw a worker out of their bag, and they discard it. It's gone out of the game. It's gone. So you put it back on the board. If it is one of your starter workers, you do not lose it. You put it back in your bag, and you cannot put one of your starters up here because they become out of the game. This one is taxes. You pay 1 coin for every 3 goods that you have. So a wide variety, and they repeat. There's like 3 of each one in there. And this is actually how long the game is. There's 18 of these here. So every round you're flipping one of those over, and the game goes until you get through the last round. And then you pass the start player marker to the next player. So that is the whole game. You notice I usually, if you watch this game, these videos, I usually have notes here to make sure I don't miss anything. This is all of my notes for Orléans. Very, very simple. At the end of the game, once the 18th round is done, here's your point scoring. You get 5 victory points for each of these goods that you have, 4 for this one, 3 for this one, 2 for the cheese, 1 for the grain, 1 for each coin that you have, and you're going to take your guild halls plus your citizen tokens. You're going to add that total up, and then you're going to multiply based on whichever number is the highest star that you've passed. So if you're here, you're going to take those 2, add them up, multiply times 2. Or if you're here, you're going to multiply times 3. And you'll notice if you land on one of these, you get a certain number of coins. If you land on a citizen, you get to take the citizen. And you just simply add your victory points up at the end of the game. And that's how you play Orléans. It's a really, really good game. Very good introductory game to worker placement. And you don't, once again, since you're placing this on your own board, everybody has their own board. If you do the university, somebody else can do the university also. Everybody's got their own cubes on here. So just because you did it doesn't mean somebody else can't do it. So that's different than a lot of worker placement. So make sure you tune into all of our videos here at the Board Game Network so you can learn how to play games like Orléans, put out by Tasty Minstrel Games.